Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the sudsy secrets and the chemical chaos lurking in your laundry room, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another deep dive into the products that are literally living in your closet. Seriously, your shirts will thank you. Ready to find out if your fresh scent is actually a toxic secret? Let's dive in. Let's be real for a second. We all love the smell of clean laundry. That spring meadow or tropical sunrise scent that wafts through the house makes us feel like we have our lives together. But what if I told you that for the last 5,000 years, humanity has been on a wild, gross, and sometimes hilarious journey just to get a grass stain out of a pair of pants? Before we hit our countdown of the top 5 brands you should probably toss in the bin, we have to talk about where this all started. Because if you think your modern detergent is intense, wait until you hear what the Romans were doing. Back in 2800 BCE, the ancient Babylonians were basically the original DIYers. They weren't using fancy pods. They were boiling animal fats with wood ashes. Yeah, you heard me. You'd basically be walking around smelling like a burnt barbecue. But hey, at least that oil smudge was gone. The Egyptians stepped it up around 1500 BCE, mixing vegetable oils with alkaline salts to treat skin diseases and wash their linens. But the real MVPs, or maybe the real most valuable peers, were the Romans. Cleanliness was a gift from the gods to them, but their secret ingredient was human urine. They called it chamber lye, and they literally had public restrooms where people could donate to the cause. Professional cleaners called foulonnais would collect the fermented urine, heat it up, and then jump into huge vats of dirty togas to stomp the stains out. The ammonia in the pee acted as a massive degreaser. So, next time you complain about doing laundry, just remember, at least you aren't literally tap dancing in a tub of strangers' bathroom breaks. Fast forward through the Dark Ages, where everyone decided bathing was the devil's work, and the Black Death basically RSVP'd to every party, and we finally get to the 19th century. This is where chemistry gets real. In 1791, a guy named Nicolas Leblanc figured out how to make soda ash from common salt, making soap cheap and accessible for everyone. But the detergent we know today, that was actually a wartime invention. During WWI and WW2, there was a massive shortage of animal fats because, well, everyone was busy with the wars. German and American chemists had to synthesize cleaning agents from petroleum and coal tar. These synthetic surfactants were born out of necessity, but they changed the game because they didn't leave that gross waxy soap scum in hard water. But here's the kicker. Those synthetic chemicals that saved us from chamber lye might actually be worse for us in the long run. We're talking about endocrine disruptors, allergens, and literal carcinogens. So, are you ready to see which of your favorite clean brands are actually failing the vibe check? Let's start the countdown. 5. All Free Clear, the hypoallergenic paradox. At number 5, we have All Free Clear. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, All Free Clear? That's the one my dermatologist told me to buy. And look, compared to the neon blue sludge some brands sell, it's not the absolute worst. But the Environmental Working Group, EWG, which is basically the principal's office for chemical safety, gave it a solid D grade. Why the bad grade? Well, it turns out free and clear doesn't necessarily mean free of everything that will make you itchy. All Free Clear contains something called benzoyl-thiazolinone. Try saying that 5 times fast. It's a preservative that is a known skin and eye irritant. So, if you have severe eczema or super sensitive skin, you might still be wondering why you're breaking out, even though you switched to the safe brand. Plus, it contains surfactants that are officially toxic to aquatic life. So while your shirt might look clear, the fish in your local river are having a very bad time. It's a classic case of greenwashing, making a product look pure and simple while hiding the same old harsh chemicals in the fine print. Which leads us to a bigger question. If the clear version is still irritating, what are the heavy-duty brands hiding in their secret formulas? Stick around because number 4 is a brand that claims to be professional grade, but it's bringing some very unprofessional chemicals into your bedroom. 4. Persil Pro Clean, the high-performance carcinogen. Coming in at number 4 is Persil Pro Clean. If you look at any best laundry detergent list from consumer testing sites, Persil is almost always at the top for cleaning power. It removes about 2% more stains than Tide, which is great if you're a professional spaghetti eater. But according to the EWG, it also earns a D for safety. The big scary secret here? Formaldehyde. Yeah, the stuff they use in science labs to preserve, well, things that aren't alive anymore. Persil uses formaldehyde releasers. These are chemicals that slowly leak formaldehyde into your laundry over time to keep the bottle from growing bacteria. The EPA and the International Agency for Research on Cancer have both flagged formaldehyde as a known human carcinogen. It's also a massive trigger for asthma and skin rashes. So the question you have to ask yourself is having a slightly whiter sock worth exposing your family to low levels of embalming fluid every time they put on a clean shirt? And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear what's happening in the purity cartel. But before we get to the top 3, we need to take a quick break for our mid-video sanity check. Hold up. Before we reveal the top 3 offenders, including one that is literally 17,000 times over the safety limit for a certain chemical, make sure you've liked this video. If you're finding this helpful or terrifying, share it with that one friend who refuses to use anything but the extra scent pods. Let's spread the word and clean up our acts together. Okay, back to the madness. So, let's talk about the purity cartel. This sounds like something out of a James Bond movie, but it's 100% real life. In 2011, the European Commission dropped a massive hammer on Procter & Gamble, the makers of Tide and Gain, and Unilever, who makes Persil and all in some regions. They were fined over 315 million euros. That's over $340 million. Why? Because they were caught in a price-fixing cartel. They actually used an environmental initiative to shrink their packaging as a cover to coordinate their prices. They all agreed to make the bottle smaller but keep the prices the same, effectively ripping off consumers while pretending to be eco-friendly. The only reason they got caught is because the company Henkel, who owns Persil in Europe, decided to be the whistleblower to avoid the fine. So when these companies tell you they're committed to value, just remember that they literally had secret meetings to make sure you paid more for less. And while they were fixing prices, they were also leaving something gross in your washing machine. Have you ever heard of Scrud? No, it's not a background character in a fantasy novel. Scrud is a waxy, greasy sludge that builds up between the inner and outer drums of your washing machine. It's a mix of undissolved detergent, fabric softener, and, brace yourselves, body fats and dead skin cells. This gunk becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and mold. If you've ever noticed black bits or brown stains on your clean clothes, you've got a Scrud problem. And guess what makes it worse? Using too much detergent and washing only in cold water. Most of us use way too much soap because the companies give us those giant caps with tiny invisible lines. In reality, you only need about 1 to 2 tablespoons of high-efficiency detergent. Any more than that, and you're just feeding the Scrud monster. But let's get back to the countdown. We've covered preservatives and formaldehyde, but number 3 is famous for purity, even though it's hiding a carcinogenic byproduct. 3. Arm & Hammer Clean. Burst, the one, 4-dioxane deception. At number 3, we have Arm & Hammer Clean Burst. The branding is brilliant. Blue waves, clean burst, and the standard of purity logo. It feels safe, right? Well, independent lab tests from the Citizens Campaign for the Environment found that this specific detergent contained 4.28 parts per million of a chemical called 4-dioxane. Now, 4-dioxane is sneaky level 100. It's not listed on the label because it's a byproduct, not an ingredient. It's created during a process called ethoxylation, which is what companies use to make harsh cleaning chemicals gentler on your skin. But the EPA has classified it as a probable human carcinogen. The real problem? It's persistent. It doesn't break down in the environment, and it travels easily through soil into our groundwater. So every time you use Clean Burst, you're potentially sending carcinogens into the very aquifers we use for drinking water. There have even been class action lawsuits against the parent company, Church & Dwight, alleging that their standard of purity claim is totally misleading given the dioxane levels. Oh, and Arm & Hammer Clean Burst also uses optical brighteners. These are chemicals that don't actually clean your clothes. They just coat the fibers in a fluorescent film that reflects light to make them look whiter. It's literal eye trickery. These brighteners are known skin irritants and are super toxic to fish. So, if pure actually means contains carcinogenic byproducts and eye-tricking chemicals, what does the most fragrant brand on the shelf have to hide? 2. Gain, the neurotoxic olfactory overload. If laundry detergents were ranked by their cult following, Gain would be the undisputed leader of the pack. It isn't just a cleaning product, it is a lifestyle. Gain is essentially a fragrance house that happens to sell a little bit of soap on the side. Its marketing doesn't focus on stain-lifting enzymes or surfactant technology. It focuses on the scent people, a demographic so devoted to the aroma of original scent that there are entire internet forums and subreddits dedicated to making one's entire existence. Carpets, curtains, and car interiors smell like Gain. However, if you look past the neon green packaging and the tropical sunrise marketing, the Environmental Working Group, EWG, tells a much darker story, consistently slapping Gain with a big, fat F grade. The reason? Your favorite scent is a chemical smokescreen. The primary issue lies in the word fragrance. Under current labeling laws, companies are not required to disclose the specific ingredients that make up their signature scents because they are considered proprietary trade secrets. This legal loophole allows brands to hide a cocktail of hundreds of synthetic chemicals under a single, innocent-sounding umbrella term. When independent labs pull back the curtain, they often find phthalates. These are potent endocrine disruptors that act as plasticizers to make the scent stick to your clothes for weeks. Once those clothes touch your skin, your body absorbs these chemicals, which have been linked to hormonal imbalances and reproductive issues, respiratory distress and chronic asthma, developmental delays in children who are exposed during critical growth windows. Beyond the mystery fragrance, Gain contains a preservative called methylisothiazolinone. While it sounds like a mouthful, you should know it as a suspected neurotoxin. Research suggests this chemical can interfere with the way brain cells communicate and grow. In addition to its potential effects on the nervous system, it is a notorious skin sensitizer. It is one of the leading causes of contact dermatitis, the kind of angry, itchy rash that leaves you wondering why your fresh towels are making you break out. While countries in the European Union have moved to ban or strictly limit this chemical in leave-on products due to its high irritation profile, it remains a staple in American laundry rooms. We are essentially trade-offing our neurological health and skin integrity for a moonlight breeze. When a detergent's primary selling point is its ability to project a scent across a 3-bedroom house, you have to ask, what is it masking? High-intensity synthetic perfumes are often used to cover up the chemical odors of cheap surfactants. Or, ironically, the fact that the detergent isn't actually cleaning the organic material out of your clothes as well as it should. By saturating our fibers with these persistent chemicals, we aren't just cleaning our clothes, we are marinating in a neurotoxic soup. And if you think the original scent is intense, it pales in comparison to the final boss of the laundry aisle, the household name that everyone trusts, but no one should. 1. Tide Original, the 17,000 parts per billion carcinogenic giant. And here we are at number 1, Tide Original. Tide is the undisputed king of laundry. It was launched in 1946 as the Wash Day Miracle, and it changed the world by freeing women from hours of manual labor. But in the 21st century, that miracle has turned a bit sour. The EWG gives Tide Original an F. Remember 1,4-dioxane, the probable carcinogen we talked about? In 2019, the Citizens Campaign for the Environment tested Tide Original and found it contained dioxane at levels of 17,000 parts per billion. To put that in perspective, the EPA's safety limit for drinking water is just 0.35 parts per billion. That is a staggering amount of a carcinogen to be pouring down your drain. Tide also contains sodium borate, which is associated with endocrine disruption and can mess with reproductive health. Despite Tide launching a per-clean version that is 75% plant-based, their flagship original formula continues to be a toxic heavy hitter. And we can't talk about Tide without talking about the forbidden fruit, Tide Pods. Launched in 2012, these little colorful packets were a marketing genius move, but they looked exactly like candy. This led to thousands of cases of accidental poisonings in toddlers, and then the Tide Pod Challenge. Between late 2017 and early 2018, teens started filming themselves actually biting into these pods for social media clout. The AAPCC reported hundreds of intentional exposures, some leading to seizures, chemical burns in the lungs, and even death. Tide had to hire NFL star Rob Gronkowski to do a commercial basically begging people not to eat their product. What the heck is going on, people? Use Tide Pods for washing, not eating. It was a PR nightmare that showed just how concentrated and dangerous these chemicals really are. So, if the big names are out, what on earth are we supposed to use? Don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. There are actually some scientific success stories out there that clean just as well without the toxic baggage. Before I jump into the final segment of the script, here is a quick check on our alignment. I have expanded this section to roughly 1,000 words as requested, maintaining the light, humorous YouTube tone while strictly using the data from the internal material regarding 7th generation Dirty Labs, Aspen Clean, and others. I've also included the final call to action. Does the breakdown of the scrud maintenance and the seaweed science meet your expectations for the fun but informative vibe? Okay, take a deep breath. I know I just spent the last 20 minutes essentially telling you that your laundry room is a high-stakes chemistry set gone wrong. You're probably looking at your washing machine right now like it's a toxic waste site. But don't throw away all your clothes and move into a yurt just yet. There is a light at the end of the dryer vent. The good news? The great detergent divide is closing. It used to be that natural detergents cleaned about as well as a gentle breeze. You'd wash your shirt and it would come out smelling like faint disappointment. But according to recent real-world testing, modern eco-friendly formulas are now matching or even outperforming the big-name giants in stain removal. So, let's talk about the scientific success stories. The brands that actually work without making the planet or your skin pay the price. If you want to keep your skin, your machine, and your local fish population happy, the gold standard is looking for the EWG verified seal or a solid A grade. This isn't just a participation trophy, it means the product is free from the 1,4-dioxane, formaldehyde, and phthalates we've been dodging. The OG hero, 7th generation free and clear. First up, let's give it up for the elder statesman of the green cleaning world, 7th generation. Born in 1988 in Burlington, Vermont, these guys were doing eco-friendly way before it was a TikTok trend. Their free and clear line is a consistent EWG A student because it cuts out the dyes, the fake perfumes, and those sneaky optical brighteners that just play tricks on your eyes. What makes them cool? They are a US, DEA certified 97% bio-based formula. In human speak, that means 97% of the stuff in the bottle comes from plants, not petroleum. And get this, their name isn't just a marketing gimmick. It's based on the great law of the Iroquois, an ancient philosophy that says, in our every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations. That is a pretty high bar for a bottle of soap. They've been leading the charge for years, even lobbying to remove phosphates from dishwasher detergents. While they were acquired by Unilever in 2016, they've managed to keep their soul and their A rating intact. The Silicon Valley vibe. Dirty Labs. If 7th generation is the wise elder, then Dirty Labs is the disruptive tech startup. These guys are basically the Silicon Valley of soap. Founded by David and Dr. Pete, an R&D leader who spent years in corporate science, Dirty Labs decided to rebuild detergent from scratch. They looked at the industry and realized laundry tech hadn't fundamentally changed in 80 years. Their secret weapon? Something they call phthalates technology. Instead of using harsh, ethoxylated surfactants that create 1,4-dioxane, they use specialized enzymes, biocatalysts that literally eat stains and odors. One of their key stain-fighting enzymes was actually discovered in seaweed off the coast of Ireland. It's like sending a tiny, nature-inspired tactical team into your fabric to target protein and starch stains. And here is the kicker for you performance junkies. Independent testing by Wirecutter found that Dirty Labs cleaning power actually rivals the heavy hitters like Tide and Persil. Plus, it's 11 times hyper-concentrated. You only need about 2 teaspoons per load, which reduces chemical waste by 66% and wastewater by 87%. And since they use recyclable aluminum bottles instead of those giant plastic jugs, they've cut plastic waste by over 99%. It's a win for your clothes and a huge win for the planet. The cleanest of the clean, Aspen Clean, and Attitude. Now, if you want to reach the absolute peak of purity, the Mount Everest of non-toxic laundry, you're looking at Aspen Clean and Attitude. Both are EWG verified, which is the strictest safety criteria out there. Aspen Clean is a standout because they use decyl glucoside. This is a plant-derived surfactant that doesn't go through the ethoxylation process, meaning there is zero risk of 1,4-dioxane contamination. It's incredibly gentle on skin. We're talking safe enough for a spa vibes, but it still gets the job done. Attitude is the king of variety. They have an entire Nature Plus line specifically formulated for babies and people with super sensitive skin. They skip the synthetic fragrances and use only essential oils or no fragrance at all. If you've been breaking out in mystery rashes, this is the brand that usually solves the problem. The Eco Warrior Secret Powder Power. Finally, for the ultimate eco warriors among you, we have to talk about the return of the powder. Brands like Meliora and Molly Suds are proof that sometimes our grandparents had it right all along. The genius of powder is what isn't in it. Because it's not a liquid, it doesn't need synthetic preservatives like methylisothiazolinone to prevent bacteria growth. Meliora is one of the most budget-friendly safe options, with refills costing as low as 13 cents per load. Molly's Suds holds an EWG A grade and uses simple, effective ingredients that won't leave your machine smelling like a chemical spill. They are plastic-free, often coming in cardboard or tins, which is a massive middle finger to the microplastic crisis. Pro tip: protect your machine from scrud. But before you switch, I have a massive tip for you. If you've been using those F-rated detergents with heavy fabric softeners, your machine probably has a case of scrud. This is that waxy, bacterial buildup of undissolved soap and body fats that lives between the drums. To get your machine ready for these new, cleaner detergents, you need to run a citric acid rinse. Just add about a half cup of citric acid powder directly into the drum and run a sanitized cycle or your hottest setting, while the machine is empty. This dissolves the mineral buildup and strips away the scrud, giving your new non-toxic detergent a clean slate to work its magic. Trust me, your machine will breathe a sigh of relief. So, there you have it. From ancient Roman pea stomping to the modern purity cartel, laundry has always been a wild ride. But you have the power to vote with your wallet. Before you head to the store for your next refill, take a second to check the EWG ratings. Your skin, your family, and the planet will thank you. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. And tell me in the comments, did your favorite brand make the avoid list? Or are you already a 7th generation superstar? I want to know. Thanks for watching and stay clean the non-toxic way.